What's going on, YouTube? It's Donnie B all day, standing here in my shop. Windy outside, the door keeps blowing open. I am making my own Musso style buoy. So I already cut down a piece of 1080, right? And I already put on my design, and I think y'all can see what's happening here. Now, where I differ from the classic Musso buoy style, well, first of all, this thing's going to be bigger. This is going to be one huge knife. All the Musso buoys you find are hidden tang. So basically what happens is you have an S guard is going to be right here, not on mine. I'm going to have just a small finger guard and a small guard above the finger guard. And I'm going to do a true full tang construction. And you can see the shape is already there. It's going to come out real nice. So I'm going to keep the shape of the Musso buoy handle. And instead of using like a maple or a rosewood or anything like that, I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use black micarta. And so generally from about here and about here, you'd have a tang that goes like this and stops around there and it cuts back in. So it's a very thin tang for such a large knife. And I figured, you know what, I'm not Essie. I don't have the heat treat capabilities of all these guys. I don't have a forge. I do everything by hand. My heat treat comes from a torch in the edge of the blade and to see what I can do with it. So I'm going to do the best I can with what I have just to get this thing moving. And this is going to be used for, you know, splitting wood and doing all that crazy stuff. I'm not going to be using it for batoning. I might do that when I review it. After I make it, I'll show you what it could do. But this thing is going to be basically bring it in the woods when you're hiking through bear country type thing. And hope nothing comes at you. And if something does come at you, you have the biggest knife you could possibly have to defend yourself with. So I'm going to use this big old hunk of steel. I'm going to, you can see it there. I'm going to get it moving. I'm going to finish knocking off the tip there. Then I'm going to start grinding all by hand. All by hand, this thing is going to come out. All I have is a belt sander. And I got this little Chicago electric cutting tool. That's what I'm using to knock it off. And then I have my my grinding wheel. And that's it. That's all the tools I use. Also, I'm going to be doing a little hunter that I already started carving out. That one I'm going to do G10 handles on. Try to make that cool. But this right here, this is my Musso buoy. So keep watching because eventually I'm going to have something that's not rectangle. And it's going to be awesome. I hope. All right, stay with me now. All right, so I got my basic shape profiled out of there. Exactly. This is what it's going to look like pretty much, except the handle's going to have some nice curves to it. This is going to be taken down a little bit all the way through here. This is going to have a nice swoop in it right here. Same thing with the natural edge. It's going to have a little swoop. I'll tell you what, man. This is going to be one big, how hot is this? One big, nasty Musso buoy. Look at the size of this thing. I'm going to keep on working. It's time to hit the old belt sander and start hitting this with some love. All right, so let me get going. All right, so I grinded the shape of my tip and I got to the end of my hilt here. So now what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to cut some downward lines and there, and then get it off there. I'm not going to use the grinder on this. I'm going to use the I'm not going to use the hand grinder on this anyway. I'll use some stone on it, but I'm going to use the belt sander, and I will put this on the top and get that some nice shape there. Same thing with here. Over here, I'm going to do lines, and get it around the guard. You can see right there. Make my shape for the guard. Make some lines in here. Bring that up. And then start working on that. And then I have a little stone bit that goes on the drill. And I'll work on getting the ricasso in there. And try that. So let's keep going. As for now, I'm going to start making little lines. All right, so as you see there, I got those lines cut out. That's going to make it easier for getting through all that. And then once I put it on the belt, I'm going to be able to grind that down real nice once all that's removed. So now I just have to do the same thing to right there. So far, so good. So far, so good. So this is the top. You can see now that it's ground flat. You can see how thick it is. I believe it's 5 millimeters, I want to say. I think that's what it is. But you can see I got almost all those lines out. I still have a bunch of grinding left to do. You can see the swoop has started to come through. I got to finish that up. Been in there a couple hours working on this thing, and man, I'll tell you, it's coming. Right here, there was a big little freaking 90 degree practically. Got that ground out of there. Over here, so far, got my little ricasso nice and bent in. This is nice and round. It's got a little edge on it right there. That's going to come down. Got a nice little finger swell right here, kind of almost choilish, and that's good. So you can see how much more grinding I have to do. All that black has got to come off. So wherever you see black, that's got to be removed. So that's still a whole lot of material that's got to come out of there. This thing's a monster, guys. It is a monster. And I wanted to show you. Let's take it up one. Here's your typical style and typical size of Muso Bowie. This is the Gilhibben Old West Bowie, right? So look at the size difference here. I don't even know if I can show you guys the size difference. That's the blade. So here you go, ricasso for ricasso. Look at the blade size difference. The handle, this one's going to come down a little bit. So you see that, you know, there's nothing, there's no pins there, nothing like that. It just goes to right there, and mine is going to be a nice, keeping that swell. I want to keep the nice palm swell, but it's going to be true full tank construction. So when you look at these, and you can see the mammoth size of this blade I'm making. And this right here, this is no tiny freaking knife. This is huge. This is a big knife, and I love it. It's awesome. I haven't even reviewed this one yet, guys. Not even yet. So I'll be bringing this one to you, but this is my inspiration for this one right here. And man, look at the size. Look at the size. This thing could hide in that one. It's just a monster. It's a monster blade. Oh, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. It's not gonna be as pretty as this one. It's not gonna be as shiny as this one. Who knows? It might not even be as sharp. But I'll tell you what, it's gonna be big. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be mine. This is gonna be a dbad custom right here. This is a Donnie B all day original, and so far, so bueno. So I'm gonna keep on going on this. Probably maybe tomorrow I'll put a little bit more work into it and try to get this thing down a little more. My main concern right now is getting the handle down sized appropriately, and I'll show you what I'm using here. I have some black and red micarta. See if I can get that nice. Yeah, you can see all that texture in there. This is going to be my scales, so you can see how much material still has to be removed around that. Still a bunch of material. I'll get all that done, shape it up, then I'll shape up the scales real nice, and I'll probably do a 2-pin system here, and then I gotta take down all the crap off the actual steel, I need to do an edge because the edge right now is 5 millimeters thick. Not going to cut too much down with that. But I'll tell you what, it's a good bludgeoning tool just like this. So this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at, guys. Got a whole bunch more to go. You'll be with me. I'll tell you that. All right, guys. So this is where we're at. Handle is all pretty much done. Let's see. Got my scale right here. Line that up. So once I get it all set, put that on there, and then I'll take it over to the grinder and I'll shape my handles. So I got that nice black and red micarta. I already did my first and second bevel. Did a bevel and a little edge. I was talking to somebody earlier about my Sheffield MOD. It comes with a very round edge. It's not a paper cutter, but it's a chopper and it'll cut through anything. And I started thinking, you know, that knife is strong as nut, and I put that thing through everything. So I figured that's what I'm going to do with this one. And it's not honed yet, but it's got a pretty good little edge on it right now. You can see that, let's see, I don't know if I can get that enough for you, but it's done real well. It's even on both sides. I've got a nice, there you go, you can see that edge. I've got a nice edge coming in there, but it's a thick edge, right? So this thing is going to be a limb chopper. You know what I mean? You can see that right there. That is not a thin edge. This is not going to be surviving any paper cuts anytime soon. This thing is made to hack off arms and legs of Bigfoot and be an absolute destroyer. It is just magnificently big. And I'm thinking, taking this guy right here, I measured that out. It's the same height right there. And I'm thinking of adding an accent piece with a nice flare. It matches my tip. So I'm thinking about doing that when I put on my handles, just to add a little something. Right now, what I think I'm going to do is I might glue it. Oh, I did add a secondary bevel up here, and I think I'm going to leave it small. I was going to make it more pronounced, but it was basically just to round this area off. And it worked. It worked out fine, so that's good. But I think I'm gonna blue the blade. Since it is carbon, it should stick. I'll put a single coat on there and see how it goes. I was sanding it all down, and I figured if I'm bluing it, the coating that's on there right now isn't gonna really bother me. So I don't really care. I mean, some of it is half scratched off. It looks like cursive. It says, "This is awesome." I can't read. So that's pretty good, man. It's all coming together. It's comfortable in the hand. The weight, I'll tell you what, man, it's pretty heavy. But I'm a big dude, and I like heavy. But the recovery, I'm sitting on my leather couch. I'm not going to be spinning this all over the place like this. But the recovery for a big, giant, heavy knife is actually pretty good, man. It's better than my voice right now. And that's something. The little handguard in the end really works. I mean, it really, really works. And then having this big ricasso, this choil-like ricasso, that's really good. But since this is going to be an absolute hacker, I mean, it's not really, I'm not going to be doing any fine tuning, you know what I mean? So I'm not really worried about that. But this is where we're at right now. My Old West Bowie is coming along. It's looking good. It's freaking massive. And oh, I was telling you guys I was going to add a swoop in here. So what I did is I started a swoop there and I stopped it, knowing that I'm going to be doing this. So I didn't want that to be uneven, so I left the swoop come up. You can see I got a nice little curve there, but this is going to sit right. So that's why this swoop looks like it stops, because I made it stop. So I'm going to keep on going, making this thing even better. So far, so good. Man, it's taken a lot of time at the belt sander, I'll tell you that. I was thinking about doing some shark tooth grooves in here, some chartreuse serrations. I'm thinking about it. I might not. We'll see how it works out. I'm going to try and blue it. If it doesn't look good, I'll sand it off. If it does, I'll do it some more. So I'll keep you guys posted. Oh, I'm stoked. I'm stoked. I'm stoked. Look at the bluing. Look at this, with leaving just a little bit of that original coating on underneath. Check this out. Tell me if that doesn't look rustic and badass. This thing is ridiculous. Super blue. I'll tell you what, it works. I only did 2 coats. So basically what I did is I put it on the rag, and I added the bluing, and I rubbed it in, and then I went and I rinsed it off with cold water. Wiped it down with a paper towel to dry it. Came on, put a second coat. Of all the things I've blued so far, this thing, man, this thing came out the best. This thing is straight up blues blue. It is awesome. It's a little blurry right now, but holy mackerel, man. I wish I would look. Yeah, there you go. Hey, look at that. You can see the Red Sox in it. Check that out. All those markings give it a really, really cool look. Gives it this crazy Japanese looking finish, which is just awesome. Awesome, man. I'll tell you what, with my scales, with the black and red micarta against that color blue, this thing and this, let's see, and I'm not going to polish this brass. It's going to look just like that. So it's going to be rustic. Rustic is all get up. How cool is that? I'm telling you guys, this thing's one step away, man. It's one step away. Now it's all about put on the scales, drill a couple holes, add a couple pins, and I need to take some do some finish sanding right here. So basically, I might even be able to just do it with the 400 to get it nice and smooth where the scales are going to go. And then once the scales are on it, it's just about finishing that up and shaping the scales the way I want them, making it crazy comfortable. I wanted a rugged beast of a knife, and if this isn't a rugged beast of a knife, I don't know what is. You won't find one more rugged and beastly than this. Let's just for the hell of it, let's see what we're looking at here. All right, so the blade is 15 3/8. That's a big blade. Overall, we are 21 1/8. So 21 inches and 1/8, 21 1/8 inches. That's big. That's big. I don't know what that is in centimeters for my European friends. The back of this thing is in inches, the same as the front. So, but I mean, if you're looking at this on a computer or on a phone, you'll be able to type it in and figure it out. Big, just big. I'll tell you what, this is awesome. And now that it's blued, I think this little guard right here, that little guard is going to be even better. Because look, I mean, that thing's just all beat up looking. And I'm leaving it like that. Man, that is freaking awesome. Look at that. And I'll tell you what, I don't have a bevel jig. So you're looking at this bevel, it's straight all the way through. And that's all done by hand. That's all done by hand. And that's without a, man, my voice is crappy. That's without using a platform, a base, because I ripped mine off of my sander. So this is literally just holding it the entire time against this moving sandpaper and trying to keep it perfectly even. And it's even on both sides. You know, it's even on both sides, which is even more impressive. It just came out pretty good. And it's easy on a small knife to keep it even because you're not doing anything. But when you're going over 15 inches of blade and you're trying to maintain an even bevel all the way through, over 15 inches without assistance, just straight holding it, Man, that's pretty hard. That's pretty hard. But I'll tell you what, this thing's ridiculous. I might even go rinse it off and do one more coat of blue. No, I'm not. I'm gonna leave it just like this. This is awesome. So once the handle's done, I'm gonna put it on there, and we'll have a finished product. dbad, Old West Bowie, in effect. This thing, I mean, you want to talk about how it would look if it was done back then? This is pretty much how it would look if it was done back then. Just bigger. Oh my gosh. All right, guys, stick with me. It's all done. It's all done. It's all done. So I removed the brass guard I had on the top because it was hiding that swoop I wanted. And it was flat all the way to here, and then it was just kind of a swoop. And I really wanted that beautiful sway across the top of the blade. And I like it better like that. If you remember my Cisco, hold on a second. So you remember my Cisco, when I was using it, the thing flew off. The brass guard flew off and I lost it, and it's in the woods somewhere. And I said, you know what, I kind of like it like that, and it looked real good. And remember, this was a polished blade. This is not an old rusted blade. I blued that particularly to look this way. And I just happen to like the look. So with this one, I decided to leave off. Look at the size difference. I decided to leave off the brass guard just because that shape is something I wanted to maintain. I still love the bluing on this. I was thinking about sanding this down and polishing here, just leaving that, but I don't know. I love a rustic looking knife, man. I love it. So that's what I did with that one. That one looked good. But this one I blued it darker, and you can see the dark spots underneath, and it gives it a really, really cool industrial type feel. I was going to go through and sand all in here, but again, how can you have a blade that looks like this? It looks like it's already been through the trenches in like the 1500s, and have this finished. You know, they wouldn't have finished it back then. I'm not going to finish it back now. The black and red micarta, I scarred up a bit, and I made it feel pretty good in the hand. I don't even know if you could see all that texturing in there. You could see there's like a double pin thing, and that's because I jacked up the pins at first and sanded them down and did a redo on the pins. And so it looks jacked up right there, but I don't care. It's just got a double pin look. But holy moly, this thing came out pretty good. Now I was going to make a super round edge, and I made it a little bit sharper than I initially planned on doing. And I don't even know if I can get it in there. But the edge isn't bad. I want it to be a chopper, and like a body part chopper against Bigfoot. You know what I mean? If you get attacked by an elk, this thing's going to do the job. But that's what it was meant to do. It was meant to be a chopping blade, not a finishing blade. So it doesn't have to be sharp enough to do all that. After I blued it, I went back over my grind, and you can see it's still really nice and straight. And telling you guys, there's a belt sander like this, and I'm just going at the top of the belt sander like this with my naked eye and with the balance of my hand. And when you're going 15 inches, and let's see exactly, after doing all the sanding, I'm pretty sure it changed a little bit. I want to see the overall here. Overall, we're looking at, let's get that done. All right, so overall, it's bigger than I thought. We're looking at 21 inches overall with a blade length of 16. Okay, so it's bigger than I thought. For some reason, I thought it was 20 and 15. It's 21 and 16. Grinding does not add inches. It takes inches away. So this thing is huge. This thing is monstrous blade. It's awesome. It's about 5 millimeters, around 3/16 thick. And it's cool. So right now, we're going to take it outside, and I'm going to see if I can't chop some wood with this thing. This isn't going to be a regular review because it's not made like a regular knife. This thing is purposeful, and it's made to do that. It is heavy too. It is heavy. I think it's 245 pounds. So give or take a couple hundred pounds. But it's a beast. It's a beast of a blade. I'm pretty proud of this. I like the way it came out. I wanted a rustic, badass looking knife, and that's what I'm into. You know what I mean? When I make my own stuff, I like making some beat up looking material. And I have some polishing stuff. I have polishing wheels. I just don't want to use it, man. I like it like this. So let's go outside and swing this thing through some stuff. So I was planning on doing that big fat edge. So I wasn't thinking about doing a water bottle test, but we're here. So why not? Did you hear the sound of that? It sounded like I shot off a gun. Hold on a second. Well, that was pretty crazy. That was pretty crazy. That thing was loud. I don't know if it came through to you guys, but it was loud. Trying to get the edge on there. There we go. So it's sharp enough to be able to slice through this plastic. Once I get the edge on it, get a little bead. But not sharp enough to where I'm going to tear through anything. Is it shave sharp? Well, no, not at all. But that wasn't the purpose of the blade. If I spent a little bit more time on there and I wanted to thin out that profile some, we can get it there. But that's not what this thing is for. This thing isn't super heat treated, so if I go too thin on the edge, I'm going to end up jamming it up. So I'm not going to do that. But let's go hit some trees. Okay, like in many of my videos, I took a detour. You know what? Let's do the drop test. And I already know because I just dropped it. But look how straight this thing is going to fall. I mean, every time. It's so weighted. You hear the thud? Damn, that's really in there. That's a 4-foot drop. Whoop. It took a big chunk out of that one. I mean, it's a beast. Do a downward throw or two. Oh. That just, instead of sticking in, it literally just chunked out a huge piece of the wood. I'm going to throw it backwards here. Maybe that's a little better. Look at that. Look at that. That is solid. Solid, solid, solid. Ooh, man. Caused some vibration in the hand there. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll give it a little bit more testing than I thought I was going to do. Now, this baton isn't going to baton because it's not heavy enough for this freaking blade. But you get the gist of it. And can it feather stick? I mean, I told you I put more of an edge than I wanted to. So can it feather stick? These ones were already here, but those little tiny curls right there. Yeah, man. Look at those little guys right there. That's not too bad. All right, now we'll go swing at a tree. Come on. All right. So here we are. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. Get rid of some of this stuff. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's see. Get rid of that one. Man, that's just so nice. So nice. Let's see. Let's see you do the old cucumber test. I mean, I did make it sharper than I wanted. I'm getting under the skin here. And it worries me to make it that sharp because it just leaves me more able to damage the tip, you know? I mean, not the tip, but the edge. But look at this. Look at that. That's not too bad, guys. Do a little side grip here. Let's clean all that off. That's just gunking up my edge there. Look at this. I think you guys can see that. Look at this. Look at this. All right, so this is what we came for, though. This is what we came for, the big stuff. So here it is. You guys can see that. I got this crazy glare because, you know, I have one of those screen protectors, and luckily I do because I cracked it, and the crack goes right along the edge of the camera. So I get this weird glare, but we're going to fight through it anyway. All right, so let's see here. Woo! Man, go right-handed. Well, that took no time at all. Let's see if there's any edge damage at all. Not even, because it's such a fat edge. This thing is an all-day chopper. This thing is an all-day chopper, and it's homemade. The micarta scales, golly, that really does chop. The micarta scales are only $10. $10. You go to a good place. Like I went to a woodworking store, found the scales. They're just rectangle scales. And that's it. I use JB Weld. So $10 for the scales. I don't know what the JB Weld was, like $5, somewhere in there. Then the steel itself, I got the that stock. Look at that. Oh my God, I'm talking and I'm not really winding into this thing, and it's just literally decimated. I'm not even swinging. I mean, you can see what I'm doing. I'm sitting here just chatting with you guys, and it's, bam, tearing it apart. This is going to be one of the best choppers I own. I'll tell you what, I might have to put this up against the my Essie Hunglas. If you haven't seen the video on the Essie Hunglas, look at that one. It's spelt Junglas if you're looking for it. Holy crap, this thing is a chopper. Look at this, watch this. But yeah, so the steel I was saying was, I don't know, it's just a piece of flat steel that you get at Walmart. I mean, not Walmart, but Home Depot or Lowe's, whatever. And I cannot believe how well this thing chops. This is the best chopper I own right now. I'll say it straight up. This thing is phenomenal. But yeah, so you can go there and you pick up a single piece, and you know, if you have a grinder and you have some time, eventually you can make yourself a pretty badass Bowie. Not too bad. This is dbad all day long. Somewhere in here I'm gonna have to throw my dbad in there. Little maker's mark, and I gotta make a sheath. But look at this, guys. This is a chopper. This is a dbad one-off Musso style Old West Bowie, and I did it my own way. A, I made it bigger, and B, I made it true full tang. I didn't do the half tang. I didn't do the full hidden tang. I didn't do the rat tail. I did a true full tang, and instead of using a walnut, you know, dowel that you sand down, I used micarta. And I have to say that in the sun, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that, but in the sun, let's see. Guys, work with me here. I'm going to balance you out. You can really see the black and red, and I hope it's coming through, but I don't know if it is because it's probably blurry and I can't see that right now. But the black and red micarta looks really, really good. I don't know. Came out pretty badass, guys. So here it is. That's my Bowie build. This thing is one gigantic mammoth knife. I mean, it's big. It is big, 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 big. And man, does it chop. And look at this edge. Look at this edge. Get it in the sun. Look at this. There is no edge issues banging on all those trees and all those limbs. Look at that. You can see that nice profile there. It's even on both sides. Done by hand. I got to say I'm proud of that. But there it is. The dbad Old West Bowie build and review. Not too shabby. I'm Donnie B all day. Until next knife. Wow.